Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program. This is Sunday Politics live on Channels Television. We're reaching you from our Abuja studio in the nation's capital. Tonight, our attention is on the Sowore matter, his rearrest, and what has happened. There's been a lot of reactions trailing his rearrest. And so a lot of issues have been generated from the rearrest. So it happened on Friday, just about less than 24 hours after he was allowed to go home. So the DSS rearrested him. But what is perhaps of a major contention is what happened in the courtroom. Watch what has become a major point of debate with Nigerians, and in fact, this matter has been generating a lot of debate also outside of the country. Went bizarre on Friday when Mr. Sowore reappeared in court. That was less than 24 hours after he was allowed to go home, after it was due to a bail condition which he met. The court had ordered the secret police, the Nigerian DSS, the Department of State Services, DSS, to allow Mr. Sowore to go and order them to obey court order. At his reappearance on court, what he just saw now happened. The Department of State Services had rearrested Mr. Sowore, and they said that they have not arrested his co-defendant, Mr. Olawale Bakare. They were weeks away from the Federal High Court on Friday after a strong resistance for about an hour to the DSS headquarters in Abuja. Sowore was arrested at the gate of the headquarters of the Federal High Court at about 10:46 a.m. after he was brought down from the court by his lawyer, Mr. Femi Falana. Sowore and Bakare were taken away in Mr. Femi Falana's car, which was, we understand, was driven by a DSS operative. That incident you see there earlier on, right in the courtroom, has been condemned by a lot of Nigerians as desecration of the temple of justice. The Nigerian Bar Association has asked for the sack of the head of the DSS. In their reaction, take a listen to what the Nigerian Bar Association has said. They are asking for the sack of the head of the DSS. They said, however, it should not surprise anyone who has followed his actions and words that Sowore is a person, the presidency reacting to what has happened. That it should not surprise anyone who has followed his actions and words that Sowore is a person of interest to the DSS. Sowore called for a revolution to overthrow the democratically elected government of Nigeria. He did so on television and from a privileged position as the owner of a widely digital newspaper run from the United States of America. He founded an organization, Revolution Now, to launch, in their own words, Days of Rage with the publicized purpose of fomenting mass civil unrest and the elected administration's overthrow. Well, this is the account of the DSS. The DSS is saying that they've come out to say they were not responsible for what happened in the courtroom. They said that it is instructive to know that during the court proceeding of the day under reference, the defense counsel, Mr. Femi Falana, called the attention of the judge to a suspicion that the service was planning to rearrest Omoyele Sowore immediately after the court session. The court discountenanced his alarm and asserted that the service was law-abiding and would not engage in such, and subsequently adjourned to February 2020. However, when Shore stepped out of the court and cited operatives of the service within the premises, he ran back into the courtroom in a bid to shield him from an imaginary arrest. His uncontrollable supporters mobbed him while chanting, "You cannot arrest him," thus the pandemonium that ensued. A critical look at the videos in circulation would convince any objective viewer that there was no DSS personnel during the entire period the Shore crowd acted out its orchestrated drama. Its personnel were never at any time involved in the incident. That is the side of the DSS in the matter. The presidency has been dragged into the matter as criticism of what happened and the body language of the president to the matter has been questioned. Now, the presidency has come out to say, quote, "The DSS does not necessarily need the permission of the presidency in all cases to carry out its essential responsibilities that are laid down in the Nigerian Constitution, which was the foundation for the restoration of democracy in our country in 1999. However, it should not surprise anyone who has followed his actions and words that Shore is a person of interest to the DSS. Shore called for a revolution to overthrow the democratically elected government of Nigeria. He did so on television and from a privileged position as the owner of a widely read digital newspaper run from the United States of America. He founded an organization, Revolution Now, to launch in their own words, quote, Days of Rage, where they publicized purpose of fomenting mass civil unrest and the elected administration's overthrow. That is the account from the response from the presidency, according to Mr. Garba Shehu. With the account of the DSS, what really happened? Let's find out. Let's get into the conversation. I have with me a senior advocate of Nigeria, Professor Akin Kehinde, and a chartered arbitrator. It's going to give us a sense of what happened and perhaps what sense do we make from this kind of incident. Thank you so much, Professor, for coming on tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. Point of correction. I'm not a professor. My name is Akin Kehinde. Okay. I'm just a simple mister.
Apologies.
But by the grace of God, I'm a senior advocate of Nigeria.
Thank you so much. Yeah, apologies.
That's all right.
I guess I got the communication wrong.
Yes, yes.
Well, senior advocate, let's begin by asking you, what happened on Friday? In a standard practice, should that have happened?
Well, thank you so much for bringing me on this program. It is so unfortunate. There is no doubt that the DSS is empowered to arrest anyone that is suspected to have done or to be doing or planning to do anything inimical to the security of the nation. But the procedure, the process of the arrest is what is baffling everybody. This is a man that is currently enjoying the bail lawfully given by the court with conditions attached to the bail. If the DSS is of the opinion that he has breached any of the conditions of the bail, having subjected itself like every other institution to the jurisdiction of the court, they should have gone back to the court and tell the court that, look, this man that you attach bail condition A, B, C has breached the condition. And as a consequence, we want you to revoke that bail.
So DSS was wrong?
DSS was wrong. They should have gone back to the court to ask for a review of his bail and not to take the laws into their hands by arresting him when he was still enjoying that bail. Don't forget that it does not matter the opinion of any agency. It does not matter the opinion of any Nigerian about what Mr. A has done until that alleged crime is subjected to the full trial of the court. So the presumption of innocence is still there.
So you heard what the presidency has said. You heard what the DSS has said in those statements.
Yes.
Is it justified what the presidency has said in defense of what the DSS did?
I do not agree. The presumption of innocence is there. The man has been arrested. He's been taken to court. Bail has been granted. A date has been fixed for the hearing. What is the urgency?
Before I get a sense from, we have a client, a lawyer to Mr. Shore in our Lagos studio. Let me get a sense of what the explanation the DSS gave right now. On this instance, it does look like the DSS think that Mr. Shore needs to permanently be in their custody. Does it look like that?
That's a summary of what the DSS is saying. And for me, that is unacceptable. Because as I said earlier on, having subjected the trial to the jurisdiction of the court, DSS no longer has any control over that matter, except as directed by the court. And the court has given bail conditions to this man. If DSS is not comfortable with the bail conditions, or if DSS feels that the man has breached any of the bail conditions, the right thing to do is for them to go back.
Could the DSS arrest any person within the premises of the court?
No, it's a desecration. That's the truth.
In the premises, not in the courtroom.
The question is, a person who is suspected to have committed any crime can be arrested anywhere.
Including the premises of the court?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. But in this instance, the difference in Showore's matter is that this is a man that was already enjoying a bail duly granted by the court.
But the question here, senior advocate, is that DSS is saying none of our men are in or is in that courtroom, that none of their men were engaged there. So if you're saying that anybody can be arrested within the premises of the court.
Not in the courtroom.
But in the premises of the court.
Within the premises.
So if the DSS say we arrested him in the premises of the court, not in the courtroom, so they are right.
That's not the story of the DSS. The story of DSS is that, look, this man was going out of the court premises. He was inside his counsel's car, Femi Falana, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, and they said, look, we still have more questions for you. And they drove him in Femi Falana's car to their office. That is DSS's story.
Is that correct? Is that right? Is it within the law?
Oh, yes.
DSS was right in that sense.
DSS was right. If they believe that, look, there are fresh charges or there are fresh information they need to clarify with him, they could take him back to their office.
Could there be the fact that, could they have arrested him without a warrant?
Oh, yes.
The DSS can arrest without a warrant?
They can arrest without a warrant.
Okay.
Because the issue at stake, let's forget about the sentiments, let's forget about the divide. The issue at stake is the security of the nation. That's what DSS is saying, that look, we have so much information about this man, we have so much information that, look, he has activities both within and offshore.
They said it's transnational.
Transnational, that are inimical to the progress, to the survival of this nation. And as a consequence, we would need to ask and get to the root of the problem. But my take is that, look, it does not matter. Even if you find a man putting a knife on the neck of another person and cutting off that neck, until the law court has pronounced that man guilty, you have no right. So what DSS is doing, with the greatest respect, is that they are more or less putting words into the mouth of the court. They are more or less prejudging the man's guilt at this point. And my take is that, look, bring all your evidence, as strong as they may be, and lay them before the court.
All right.